Byron Donald turns tables on NBC News' Kristen Welker after she presses him over due process for illegal immigrants. Well, Welker haven't learned her lesson yet. Trump already gave it to her. Now it's Byron Donald's turn. And I think Byron Donald's, I would love for him to run for president in 2028. That's my pick. He's highly intelligent. He knows finance. He's very good at articulating things. He's very good at explaining things on a basic level for the average person to understand. I love how he breaks things down. So we're gonna play the clip from Byron Donald's. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. Has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account. So follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from the Daily Caller. And they report that NBC News host Kristen Welker suggested illegal immigrants are, quote, are entitled to, quote, due process under the Constitution. I'm tired of them saying that when it's not true. The Constitution is for American citizens, not for people that come over here illegally. But anyway, under the Constitution, prompting Republican Florida Rep. Byron Donald to argue that the sheer number of illegal border crossings under former President Joe Biden has made that untenable. There were about 8.5 million migrant encounters along the U.S. southern border from fiscal year 2021 to 2024 under Biden, according to data from Customs and Border Protection, or CBP. While Welker cited the Fifth Amendment's guarantee of due process for any individual in the United States, Donald responded that the Constitution's framers did not foresee a president enabling millions of illegal entries. Facts. There's no way they could have conceived this. No way. But let's play the clip here. Here we go.
Let's talk about that moment when he said, I don't know, when I asked him if he has to uphold the Constitution of as the president of the United States. What was your reaction to hearing that? Do you think he has to uphold every part of the Constitution, including the Fifth Amendment? Well,
first of all, let's be clear. I think what the president was talking about is, yes, he's going to uphold the Constitution. He's taking advice from his legal team, led obviously by the White House counsel, the Attorney General of the United States, everybody working at the Department of Homeland Security, about all the parameters that they are using to deport illegal aliens out of this country, which is the core of President Trump's victory last November. Let's remember, the American people have been clear that they want criminal illegal aliens, number one, and then illegal aliens overall returned to their home countries. Donald Trump is fulfilling that promise. Yep. Now, I think to the broader question in this entire situation, is it okay for the previous administration to abuse the border security laws, abuse asylum, abuse temporary protected status, open up the country to millions of people, and then hide behind due process where it would take us 15 years to actually process people back out of the United States?
Great question. And of course, Kristen Welker is not going to answer that question. But the answer to that is no. It's not fair. It's not right that they overwhelmed our system like this, where it takes 15 years to even see a judge. This by design. And she knows this. We know this.
You're talking about the numbers. You're saying there are so many people here that it would just take too long. But let me ask you, I mean, the Constitution says that everyone who's here is entitled to due process. So I understand there are big numbers that you are talking about and that the president is dealing with. But if you're going to follow the Constitution, don't you have to follow what it says by letter and law?
Well, I think first, the other thing is you have to look at this. When you come in, let's say on an asylum package, that is at the discretion of the administration. The administration is now saying, you know what? We are going to have a legal detainer for you to be deported, and you are going to be removed from the United States. That's under the premise of how you came in. Second thing, every illegal alien that came here, the first thing they did is they broke the law coming into our country.
They're criminals.
They broke the law. Let's level set here. That's what they did. So there is an orderly process that the president and his team is going through. They're not just rounding up people and dropping them out of the country. That is not true. Everybody that's been deported to this point has had a legal deportation order executed by the president's administration.
But in this case, in the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the administration said it was an administrative error. And in 2019, an immigration judge issued an order that's still in effect that he should not be deported back to El Salvador. And I guess this goes back to the question that I was asking to President Trump. Do you think that everyone, citizens and non-citizens, are entitled to due process?
Well, first and foremost, let me be clear with you. When it comes to due process, that is a privilege reserved for American citizens. When people are in our country.
That's what I that's what I was alluding to. You have no constitutional rights if you're in this country illegally because you're not an American citizen. That is a fact. They know this. They know this.
Illegally, there is a semblance of due process, but not nearly at the level of a United States citizen, of an American. There are two different standards. You come to America, you are a guest in the United States. That privilege can be revoked. And a lot of these illegal aliens were not guests. They showed up at the southern border. Joe Biden abused our laws, ignored our laws, and let them in.
And yet,
so what are the American people supposed to say about that?
Well, the Constitution, I mean, let me just read you. This is the Fifth Amendment. No person.
See, how come you think they will ever interview Democrats like this? You think they ever this is so biased. This is so biased.
Person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces. And then it goes on to say, nor shall any person be subjected for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life, limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So the Constitution says any person, not citizen. And therein lies the debate and the root of my question. I mean, does any person just apply to citizens in your mind, or does it apply to citizens and non-citizens? The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, says it applies to citizens and non-citizens.
Well, let's be very clear. First and foremost, when the framers wrote our Constitution, they never envisioned that there would be an executive that would allow millions of people to come into the country illegally. They never fathomed that. Number two, more importantly, you have a situation right now. Is it okay for any administration to not follow the law, abuse border security laws, let millions of people in, and then hide behind the court system to say, well, now they're here, so now we have to go through a lengthy process? Let's examine this right now. Right now, what we know is that when people came into the country illegally, almost 90% of them would not even go to the hearings. Right. So if you're supposed to show up for a hearing and you do not go, what are we supposed to do as a country?
Very quickly, let me just interject, and we're running out of time, and I still have to get to the economy.
Sure.
To your point about the hearings, does Congress need to work harder to get more funding, to get more resources to the courts so that you can better process people who are here, who are undocumented?
In the one big beautiful bill, there will be dollars provided to the administration to speed up the deportation efforts. I will add that one of the things we have to be very sober about is that the gravity upon which all these people have been brought to our country, it is not physically possible to hire that many judges and process them out of the country. This is why you cannot have open borders to begin with.
Okay,
Facts. Again, I love Donaldson. He's really great at breaking things down. She's trying to get him with the gotcha questions, just like she tried to get President Trump. It didn't work. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.